Alrighty, folks. Welcome to another episode of Deep Fried Friends. Tonight we're talking AKs and weapons of war currently being used in Ukraine. We brought on a little bit of a specialist in this area, Kingheavy, who's going to join us this evening. So with me, as always, is my brother to the left, Elkman.
Howdy, howdy.
The belt-fed sniper, Spanky.
Hello, everybody.
And coming from you live from a new location, Swooky.
Not quite yet, but Waka Waka.
Oh, that's right. You were getting it set up. I thought you were there tonight.
Yep.
Okay.
No.
And I'm Mac Merritt, and joining us tonight, like I said, is Mr. Kingheavy. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Hi, I'm a cheeky breaky man. My name is Heavy. I like the gun.
Okay.
I mean, what more do you want?
No, that's fine. Okay, few questions.
I'm from Maryland. I like guns. I moved to South Carolina. Now I do more guns.
Okay, that was where I was going with it. Are you a northerner? Are you a southerner? Are you a damn dirty Californian?
Okay. 28 years ago, I was born outside of Washington, D.C.
Oh, he's automatically an enemy.
Son of a bitch. Now look what you've done. That's it. Kill the stream. It's over.
Wow, I don't even know how to respond to that right now. I'm half broken.
Do it again.
What I did? 28 years ago, I was born outside of Washington, D.C.
You sound like someone ordered Dusty Rhodes off fucking Wish.
God bless.
I'm just a simple plumber's son.
I'm just a simple farmer's son.
And that's it. Elk's broke for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and mute him. He's going to be horse laughing for a while.
Right there, I've broken Elk in record time.
Yeah, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Not even two.
Not even 2 minutes.
You were a 2-minute chump, Elk.
That's the only time I've been called dead.
You got one kid that proves otherwise. All right, moving on. Hey, we've all had our 2-minute times. It ain't nothing to be embarrassed of, as long as it's not every time. Okay, so again, for people who are listening to this, the context is it is March 10th.
With the sundial.
Oh, you motherfucker!
Oh yeah, we fucking went off the rails on that one.
Okay, March 10th, 2022. The war in Ukraine is still going on. We don't normally get too political, but we've wanted to talk guns with King here since the last time we talked guns. He was extremely eager, and he is a big fan of AKs and Soviet era, post-Soviet, Eastern European weaponry. How do we even refer to that now?
All things go boom.
I mean, it's all initial Soviet design tech that just kind of transformed and evolved like all firearms tech does.
I mean, but if the Ukraine finishes it off, can we just call them Ukrainian rifles?
So
Well, pretty much all the rifles in Ukraine are pretty much either imported AR-15s or other things like that, or they are just old Soviet stock that Ukraine had and still makes.
I say, should we refer to them as Kalashnikov-inspired firearms?
Just AKs.
That's too simple. Like saying AR. Like there's not every gun in the West is an M16 or an AR clone.
Everything is essentially kind of like an AK. I mean, like AK but small, 74U, AK but big, SVD,
again,
upside down and belt fed, PKM.
Yeah, the Russians/Soviets weren't very imaginative. They found something that worked, and it worked well. And why would you break what works?
Exactly.
I don't know, but when King explains it like that, it makes a lot more sense.
So,
AK but even smaller, PP-19.
See, I mean, it keeps going. It gets
AK
great.
in
Like
shotgun form, the Saiga.
Exactly.
There's many different forms and stuff for the AK.
That's the only time I will agree with the Russians or the Soviets was taking an AK and making it 12 gauge. Like, what makes an AK better? 12 gauge.
Dude, they've taken the AK. The AK is a tool to them. You use it for everything.
It's the most famous weapon on the planet.
Just like the bayonets, where they literally tried to turn the bayonets, the bayonets and the rifles. The original bayonets they released for the AK-74 did not have a metal butt on them, like the previous AKM bayonets did. And so the soldiers were so used to using their bayonets like a hammer for driving nails, smashing nuts, things like that, that they were breaking the bakelite handles of their bayonets, smashing nuts and hammers. So they had to redesign the bayonet yet again to re-add a metal clip to attach it to the rifle so it wouldn't break.
Okay, that's a good pronunciation. That's
Sounds legit.
backlight or bakelite. I've always heard bakelite.
Bakelite.
I've
Tomato,
heard some weird
tomato.
Russian pronunciation, like bakelite.
No, that's not really that tasty thing. It's got a bunch of layers.
You know
in
my
it.
favorite fucked up word that people do all the time? You know, centrifugal. Or some people go centrifugal. And I'm like, oh my God, I just want to choke your ass.
Nuclear.
Centrifugal?
No. Centrifugal bothers me more than nuclear.
Wait, time out. I know what the fuck nuclear is, but what the fuck are you saying?
Centrifugal or centrifugal.
I've never heard it called centrifugal.
Oh,
I've
yeah?
heard it, and it's funny.
I just now heard it now, and it made my brain hurt for 5 minutes.
It's like the argument between aluminum and aluminium.
Well, my mom can't even pronounce it. She's aluminum.
Well, I mean, the person who originally wrote it down was British, and he said aluminum, so the Brits are all wrong today. It's still aluminum.
That's one of the few
Shots
times.
fired.
It's one of the few times I agree that the Brits are wrong on how they pronounce things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Brits are also the ones that get mad at us for calling soccer, yet the Brits are the ones that created that term.
Well, like
I mean-
even aluminium doesn't bother me as bad. As,
No, they're
as
adding an extra
centrifugal.
syllable into it. It's a syllable,
my God.
not a syllable. They're adding an extra syllable into the goddamn word, so they're wrong.
Wait. Aluminium and vitamins and all that shit. That doesn't bother me near as much.
See, I'm
Centrifugal.
like, I know I'm weird
my
because
God.
I actually spell gray with an E, and I will put the U in honor and color.
No. Cause see, gray is there's the name and then there's a color.
It's E with both, unless it's somebody's last name.
Are you sure?
For me, yes, I've always spelled gray with an E.
You really like this episode has gone fucking south real quick now.
I know, but again, it's
And-
about pronunciation because there's weird shit in the way they pronounce things for the AKs. So we're kind of looping around and getting back on. We'll get back there like a Robin Williams special.
He's just gonna hang around.
Oh, too soon, man! Come on.
I'm sorry.
That
Paul
man was a
Walker ran into
comedic
the
genius.
wall.
Yeah,
It's always too soon for Robin Williams.
I know. I'm sorry.
Oh man, he was
Go
a
to the
hero.
corner. Go to your corner, Elk. Just go
I'm
over
sorry.
there and think
I'm
about what
sorry.
you did.
okay.
One
So
else scatterbrained.
one of the
But do you know how traumatized some kids were whenever they had to change the voice from of the fucking Aladdin genie from Robin Williams to whoever the fuck it was, like they used like the dude from Homer Simpson or some shit.
What are you talking about?
The fuck, God damn it, go to your corner, Elk. Bye.
When did they change fucking the genie's
For
voice?
the second fucking movie.
He was still alive for the second fucking movie.
No, okay, for the cartoons when they redid it and did it with Will Smith, everybody was upset.
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about?
I give up.
No, I
Okay.
got what Mac is talking about.
Stay on target.
I'm trying to, but they're confusing
Okay.
me.
I'm backing down.
So
down.
back to the Ukraine thing.
Yeah.
One of the things that I know a lot of the AK fans are excited about is the fact that they actually get to see the AK-12 in action. Correct?
Yep. To a lesser degree, it's not super common from what I've been seeing, but it is there.
I'm sure it's there, burning in the back of BMPs and MTBLs.
But the entertaining thing about it is that they created this rifle to be optics ready, light ready, accessory ready from the get-go. And then all the images you see out there of them actually using it, there's nothing on it. It's just a bare AK-12.
Well, you still have to procure them and then have a reason to give them. It's kind of the way our military was pre 9/11, where and we've had this discussion before, again, due to my advanced age. No one in my Marine Corps rifle squad had an optic except for the DMR. We weren't trusted to be given optics. I think the Russians are still under that mentality of unless they're spec ops, they don't get optics.
He said
To a
advanced.
degree, yeah.
Just because everybody else is on fucking horseback and that DMR had a fucking beer bottle on his fucking
mother-
musket.
I'll let you know they had proper sniper scopes in Civil War. You can kiss my ass.
I was talking about the fucking.
I actually did a report about that in school.
That's how they killed John Reynolds at freaking Gettysburg.
Some of the Confederate sniper rifles are so large and the barrel is so long and heavy they had to be horse drawn.
I know a lot of them actually would just like tack them to a tree. They actually carried around a hammer and nails, and they would put in a bunch of nails into a tree and rest it on the tree, fire 2 or 3 shots, and leave.
I mean, it works.
Fuck off, Falcon.
Yeah, I was reading that too.
God damn.
Falcon, he goes back farther than that.
Way further than that. He was there for the Revolutionary War. He kicked the first box of tea in the water.
For our listening audience, Falcon says, well, you were working with the M1s back in your day.
Just remember, Falcon's older than me.
Yeah, by the way, Falcon, I need to
Only
hit
by a
you.
couple of years.
I need to hit you up for some German lessons.
French and Indian War, not that much older.
Okay, so tell us about all the images that you've seen, because I know we've all spent many hours in Discord chats those 4 or 5 days when it first kicked off, and I'm sure most people as well at that time were watching the war with great interest and many live streams open. What has been interesting to you, and then like name off some of the stuff aside from the everyday things like the AK-74s that everyone knows and sees?
Just how lacking the Russian military is compared to where the propaganda has been. And I think that's something that many people that aren't even militarily enthused are noticing. Just what they're lacking, how they aren't employing everything that they said they had, how everything is fairly limited, how they're having trouble with logistics, all those typical stuff that people are seemingly interested in. I've been actually, in terms of like specific military equipment, I'm surprised that they're employing a lot of they actually are using T-80s, which kind of surprises me to a lesser degree. I mean, I understand they have a substantial stockpile of them, but still interesting to see that they are actually using them instead of just T-72s and T-90s.
Huh. Well, again, it's kind of hard when you're not one of the richest nations on the planet to suddenly update your entire armored corps in short order. And
well, the funny thing about that is right before the Soviet Union collapsed, they did actually update the majority of their T-80s. I say update. They more of just kind of got tired of, well, I say before. It's like around the time of the Soviet collapse when they were going into Chechnya and doing all the fighting around Grozny and stuff, and they started equipping the T-80s. Not long after that, they replaced all the turbine engines in them with the V-12s just because they did not like the turbines.
Oh, there's state of the art, circa 1986.
Well, the funny thing is they never really trained their troops. What's one of the major reasons Grozny failed.
Right.
I mean, they spent the whole day before they deployed idling in a turbine, which uses the same fuel idle as it does at full rev. And so they were running low on fuel. They were doing so many things that the training manuals, if they did have them, would have told them not to do, but they never really got a chance to train them. And so they had only a couple of days of workup to get into the vehicles and get used to them before they deployed. And it's very much, you can see that's kind of the theme here again to a degree, with the fact that you see a number of streams coming from them talking about many of these people were deployed just for training exercise. They didn't know they were going into Ukraine. They were deployed and sent to do a training exercise along the border. They've been driving around back and forth all over the place, and then they just got told to turn left and go into Ukraine.
Make left turn here now. What?
Oh, I told you make right. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I just think it's funny how much they paraded like the T-14 around, and it's like, oh, we have ultimate state of the art tank, and it really goes to show that they've only maybe got a handful of them, and that's why you haven't really seen them in Ukraine.
Well, that is definitely a factor, I'd say, as well as just how much of a paper tiger Russia has been. They touted themselves of having all these really neat and high-tech, nifty things, which do exist and are a thing, but then they don't talk any about procurement. They don't talk any about it, and here we are seeing it's not actually being procured in any actual amount. It's not actually being funded or built and things like that. Where, funnily enough, I would wager that there are more civilian-owned AK-12s in Russian citizen hands than are in the Russian military ownership at this point.
Oh, well, before too long, there's going to be more Ukrainian civilian-owned BMPs and tanks than the Russians own if the farmers keep it up. Ain't that right, Iowa?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, King. The old Soviet style and the communist thing, because even the Chinese follow it to a point, was their military was designed in 3 tiers. Their frontline tier 1, their tier 2, which was their secondary areas, their more secure borders, and then their tier 3 was all their reservist troops. Maybe are we seeing tier 2 troops fighting? Because they've even been bringing troops over from the Far East Army, which
yeah, to a degree. I think they still implement a lot of that style of deployment scale, which is why I think we're seeing a lot of T-80s implemented, because
I'm wondering if he's holding his good stuff back in case he did get his ass kicked or NATO did go off, that he's still got enough good units to protect his own home.
I would wager that would not be unreasonable to think.
So we know they've got the VDV and some other units up front.
What's left of the VDV?
Whoopsie!
Jesus.
No, and educate people on the VDV are, because everything, I'm confused on it. Like, I know there's Spetsnaz, and the term Spetsnaz and VDV go back and forth a lot.
Well, Spetsnaz is, generally speaking, Spetsnaz is just a catch-all special forces term in Russia. There are specific units that we think of as the Spetsnaz, which are generally GRU units. They're mainly Ministry of Defense, FSB, that type of stuff. And then you have your special forces troops like the VDV, like the Naval Marines, that perform those functions and that sort of thing.
Okay. Just seeing, because I was always under the impression that, like you said, Spetsnaz was kind of a catch-all for, like, SOCOM for us.
For a lot of Western audiences, as far as I'm aware, generally speaking, any kind of special force or special troop that does something special behind lines, that's generally gets the term Spetsnaz thrown at it.
Yeah, I just remember always hearing the stories about the Spetsnaz, the guys who did the attack in the bus and threw the bomb in there because screw it, kill the civilians in order to kill the terrorists. And like the fact they used to, before the Iron Curtain fell, one of the things was the martial arts that the quote unquote Spetsnaz used was that Sistema. I forget the name of the martial arts.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
It's designed for hand to hand against armed people while you're unarmed, and the final test that used to be for the old school Spetsnaz was they would take them to these gulags where these Russian prisoners and dissidents were basically in prison for life. And they were, the 3 of them, they would take 3 prisoners, arm them with knives, and throw in the Spetsnaz trainee, and he had to survive. If he survived, he became Spetsnaz. If they killed him, those 3 men were basically freed into Siberia and they could go home. At least that was the stories that were always told. I don't know how true that was, but I've heard that they stopped that in the mid-90s because of humanitarian reasons.
I have no idea on that one, to be honest.
And Mac.
Yes, I know a little bit about history. You got to know your enemy to kill him.
Sure, whatever you say, Vlad.
I do respect that. Hey, you want to be in the special operations community? I'm going to put you in here with 3 hardened killers. You're unarmed, and you've got to survive. Otherwise, you're not part of us.
I mean, the Spetsnaz have performed historically significant operations and have actually been successful in a number of them. One of the big examples I can think of is literally decapitating Afghanistan before they went in.
There was also
they infiltrated themselves all throughout the Afghani government and decapitated it.
There was that hostage rescue they did at the theater where they released gas and was hoping to knock everybody out, but they went too strong on the gas and killed half the people in there.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. On the flip side, there is that.
So to go back to the VDV, because I'm a little uneducated on that. So if you could put like a compare one of United States military unit to VDV, like an example of what would they compare most to?
Think like the 101st or 82nd in Vietnam.
Okay, I got you. Okay, cool.
The whole heliborne troop concept, they basically took that and ran with it, and that's what they were utilizing them as is in Afghanistan, basically, but with Mi-24s and Mi-8s instead of Hueys and AH-1s.
Gotcha. And most of a good bit of them got fly swatted right out of the air. Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. Where the big difference there is that they did not apparently learn to have air dominance when they were performing these operations.
Yeah, that tends to be a little important. Historically speaking, that's pretty important to have. So like small arms stuff that you've seen. Have you seen anything unique or anything that's really caught your eye that you've seen?
So a couple of images of Ukrainians actually, like, not like true military, but they seem to be letting Ukrainian civilians use their own personal firearms. Like, shit, there was an image that was running around on the Spearhead Discord of a Ukrainian in a ghillie suit with an AR-15 and an LPVO.
Wasn't there also images of Ukrainians with, what is it, the Vesper?
They have that. There's images of Ukrainians with SKSs. There's images of Ukrainians with all sorts of things. And then you have the Ukrainian SOF who are running around with Sig Verta, Sig rifles.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah. Those are some big brass huevos on those guys, by the way.
Yeah. I mean,
they just go into an airport and blow up like 40 helicopters the other night?
Yeah, for two Russian generals to be dead, that's significant.
Still to this day, my favorite story so far is the Island Boys. I'm gonna mention them on every fucking episode we do from here on out, just because they're gangster as fuck.
Stag Island Boys, who are supposedly, a few of them are actually alive and in Russian prison.
Hopefully they're allowing them to breed with Russian women in order to get a new generation of winners.
Right? The Russian warships
with them. Just look at what the Russian FSB people are reported to be doing on Crimea, selling all their apartments and stuff.
Russian warships, Snake Island Boys, surrender. Snake Island Boys, fuck you.
Oh yeah.
Was it the Georgian tanker ship or like support ship that refused to refuel the Russian ship, telling it go fuck yourself?
Pretty much.
Paddle home. I mean, it's just so like breathtaking seeing this happen. Not in person, but in lifetime. And it's like
don't even forget like the stunning things that have been employed by the Russian side. The World War I and Soviet Revolution armored train that was sent out of Crimea. And speaking of which, Crimea is probably the only front the Russians are having that are actually meeting with any success at all.
Yeah, I was happy to see that the Chechnyans they sent in kind of got their shit pushed in. That was good.
You're not going to find too many people who are sad to hear about Chechens getting killed.
Nope.
When they're fighting for the Russians. When they're killing Russians, I'm all for the Chechens.
And I'm interested to see where it goes over the next couple of weeks, where the International Legion performs and acts and how that does.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I agree. That's going to be interesting to see.
Because the agglomeration of people that are in that just has to be such a unique mix of people from all sorts of backgrounds. Like, there is confirmed to be Afghanis in there, Georgians, Chechens, Americans, Brits. The mix of people is pretty nuts.
To touch on two topics. One, Afghanistan. So one of the things that blew my mind about all this, and is how I know that this is post-Harambe 2020 bullshit, is when you have Afghan's government, the Taliban, whatever they're known as now, condemning what's going on. That threw me for a loop.
No, because they hate the Russians. The Afghanis do hate the Russians, and it doesn't change.
I understand that, but it's still just that scene because we grew up the whole 2000s Taliban bad guy. It's just how you're gonna see it. Especially from our perspective, and it's just interesting to see them saying, for lack of a better term, on the side of good right now. And
the enemy of our enemy is our friend. So,
but again, you kind of like what
King is
simplifying
things down to a white and black, and the world is most definitively not just
definitely.
white and black.
Well, here's a good way of looking at it, Swookie. Even though the Afghans fought the Soviets for 10 years, almost 15 years before we ever showed up, the 10 years they spent in Afghanistan, they did nothing but do everything they could in their power to kill Afghans. They fed poison to their children. They made explosive toys. They bombed the cities indiscriminately. They didn't build any infrastructure. Whereas we came in, we went after the bad guy when we tried to build up the country, and the Taliban's problem with us and our problem with the Taliban was an issue of philosophy. They want to rule their country based on a group of, in our Western mindset, archaic religious beliefs where women can't learn past like 6th grade. They have to keep covered with a towel. Like, it's stuff it's very anti-American thinking. At least they hate us, but they at least respected us for what we were trying to do. They didn't agree with it. So the fact that it shows you how much they hate the Russians. They fought us for 20 years. They fought the Russians for 10, had 15 years off, and they still want to kill Russians more than they want to kill us.
And are willing to go and volunteer with Ukraine, knowing full well that there will be Americans going there too.
Yeah. And to another point, when you mentioned like British, I think I saw somebody share an article or something in one of the Discords I'm in talking about how they've already started seeing a lot of guys in the Britain's army or whatever either going AWOL or leaving. Yeah.
Deserting, I should say, not defecting. Yeah. Deserting, leaving, and going to fight for Ukraine.
Yeah. It's just like
one of the YouTubers I used to watch a bunch. I don't watch him too much anymore, but Lindy Page actually uploaded a video of one of his friends going off and doing it, and the phone call he had with him as he was sitting in the airport.
I mean, more power to you. I just, yeah.
Well, again, it's for them so we had 20 years of war. The Brits fought alongside us for quite a while in Iraq and Afghanistan, but there's a lot of guys in their military that never got to rotate over. So again, they're thinking this might be their last chance at a war in Europe. And at least this way, again, unlike Afghanistan, you get to fight an enemy that's wearing a uniform, that's in an actual tank or an armored vehicle, that you get to employ the skill and training that you've had for the last few years. So why miss out on it?
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting because watching one news report, they were talking to an American airborne former, I think he was 101st or 82nd, but he's been living in Ukraine for the last year and working like basically as a civilian contractor, helping train their military with all of his combat experience because he did 2 or 3 tours in Iraq. And now he's fighting with the Georgian Legion, training and arming their guys. And he was talking about the fact that, yeah, they've had some Brits, some French, some Germans all join in to the Georgian Legion. And they've had other guys come out of Georgia as well and join up with them. And it's like, oh my.
Yeah, you got like them Georgia boys, man. They're going over there to fight.
Different Georgia, but yes.
I'm so glad someone else said it.
That was always one of the jokes they had in the old G.I. Joe comics when G.I. Joe was...
Or in 2008, it never stopped.
Yeah. But that was the joke in G.I. Joe, the old Russian Red Star, the Soviet version of G.I. Joe. She's like, I am from Georgia. And he goes, hell no, I'm from Georgia. Whatever. My old ass with my old cartoons and comic books.
Weren't they on stone tablets?
Oh, man.
Sweet God, I hate you so much.
So, King, how do you, what has been your assessment or your thoughts on how Ukraine has been putting up a vicious fucking fight? Give us some of your insights or anything that you might feel about it.
I mean, Ukraine has held up much better than I think pretty much everybody thought it would have.
Yeah, for sure.
The whole idea that they were able to eliminate an entire VDV assault and seizure of territory and just flat out eliminate it and turn it back is not insignificant. That they have blunted significant armor pushes around Kharkov, going in towards Kiev, coming from Belarus, and have basically stopped the pushes from Donetsk and Luhansk from actually moving out anywhere significant is, well, significant to say that word a lot.
I like the way you used it, though. Very colorful.
Yeah,
the only place they've really been losing ground is coming out of Crimea, but I feel like that's mainly because the troops in Crimea have been there a while. They have an idea of the situation on the ground. They know what it feels like to be in the occupied territory.
And they might be the ones that were the formerly loyal Russian-leaning Crimeans, so they're fighting on home territory of their own.
I wouldn't even think of it that way, because they might be, they might not be. They might be scattered throughout the rest of the Russian military like most recruits are. I really wouldn't put it down to that. I'd just say that they probably are the ones, they might actually have the leadership, the one leadership organization that isn't completely pants on head.
Now,
because they are the only ones that have actually accomplished any of the objectives that have been set out so far. They have taken Kherson, they have taken the Zaporozhets, NPP, they've almost taken Mariupol.
Yeah. And so, like, okay, answer me this, because I'm not 100% sure on it. I know historically Russia's always been like a conscript, style, fighting force. Are they still doing, conscripting people to fight now? I mean,
no, not that I am aware of, because during the USSR, every man was obligated to serve a term in the military. And after the USSR fell, it is basically gone to a volunteer force, though I think there might be some conscription that might be enforced somewhere along the line. I'm not entirely certain. I haven't really done a lot of research there.
I think they still have a national service, and you get the option of either doing the military or another different service.
And then more often than not, it ends up just being like a reserve service, kind of like National Guard here in the United States, which is why you see a lot of the reservists that they're calling them in Russian forces. That's what these guys are. They're essentially the equivalent of a Russian National Guard. They're reservists. They get called up once every couple of months. They go do their designated service, and then they go back to being normal fucking people.
I was just wondering, like, especially stuff that would have happened like in ancient times. So Russia went into Crimea, took over, annexed it back in, whatever that happened there.
Mm-hmm.
Would have they?
Those troops would have probably been volunteer signups.
No. Okay, so they wouldn't have been. Okay, yeah, that's what I was just kind of wondering.
Right now, 2 weeks into the Ukrainian conflict, are we really probably going to see the call up reserves, as has been told over a number of places in the media and likely accurate? The majority of the Russian military is moving towards or mobilized on, in, and around Ukraine. So,
interesting.
I wouldn't put it past Putin in his current state to start calling up the reserves.
Oh no.
I mean, he gonna do something if he wants to step up that timetable.
I'm really curious to see where all of it's going to go in like how the Russians are actually going to push and pursue this. Are they going to go for a negotiated peace settlement with Ukraine where they get a little bit of territory? Are they going to basically just fail and get pushed back and try and keep fighting? Are they going to have an internal upheaval that'll overthrow it before it gets anywhere further in Ukraine? I don't know. That's something that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. The amount of interests that operate in and around Russia that have just flat dropped them like a hot rock.
Yeah,
pretty nuts.
That's what we kind of talked about with Dodds, is like with all these sanctions and everything that's going on, and just the massive amount of, like you said, these companies or things that's got interests over there that are just pulling out. It's like, at what point are you going to see the people finally have enough and take actions in their own hand?
The fact that Russia is now considering and is likely going to be enforcing standardized prices on goods within the country is kind of nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to see something like this happening in a modern time. I mean, it's the power of money, though. It's literally the power of money makes the world turn.
Yeah. No, with all the things that have been going on with Russian oligarchs and how quiet they have been and how they have been pulling themselves out of things in the West, I'm kind of curious to see what will be developing in that regard, too.
Yeah.
So, how eager would you be to get over there and start getting your hands on part kits, or you and Spanky getting in there and just grabbing armfuls
Now, send me in right now. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, like, if I could get in there and just get parts kits the second that the ceasefire is declared, sign me up. I'll go over. Sure, 100%.
God, especially the prices shit is right now.
Oh, yeah.
Just the ammo alone, you guys would be freaking...
Go in and, oh, dear Lord, yes.
The ammo barons of the Midwest.
Go in and start buying those tractors. Start buying those tractors in air quotes from the farmers for pennies on a dollar.
That's what I was saying. What you do is you
militarizing them and importing them for people here in the States. That'd be fun.
You get Iowa up with one of his tractors. You head on over there. He gets him a couple of the Ukrainian tractors. And you two start loading it back up with parts kits and just bring it back over.
I'd be happy to own an MTLB because those things are big enough that I could actually get into one.
Preach on
that. Which is ironic because it looks like the shortest, most cramped thing they ever made.
Well, that's what I mean. It's a 1950s design, and it's only continued in service because it is just kind of like a general all-purpose vehicle, kind of like the 113 was for the U.S. It's used as a towing tractor. It's used as a mobile carrier. It's used as a logistics vehicle. Yeah, it's just kind of
with the 113, you could kind of stand up in it. Those MTLBs, you kind of have to like fall into them. And
that's why what I'm saying is like it's big enough for me to actually be able to fit into it. I'm not talking the back. I'm talking driving the thing. There's enough flat space on top there for me to hack that old little Russian hatch off and put a big one in for me to fit.
Did you see the video of the Ukrainian soldiers stamping on the freaking BMP lid with a grenade in hand?
Yep.
Open up! No.
You open up down there. I'm going to drop you a surprise in.
Guten Morgen!
Like, you can either open up or we can start getting the gasoline.
Well, Metal Gear Solid it and throw it through the barrel.
I mean, dear Lord, if we want to talk about World War II and hacking into things, there's some things that are happening over there in Ukraine that just make me think of some of the insane defenses that the Russians did when the Germans were pushing. There was a KV-2 in Lithuania that held them so long until the thing itself ran out of ammunition. And they eventually were able to track it, and they weren't able to get the hatches open. They had to call an engineer section up with welding torches to hack it open, and they dropped grenades inside of it to finally stop the rampage of this KV-2.
Oh, God.
Sounds about right.
Oh, man.
It halted something like a company or a brigade's worth of German armor on its own.
Well, there's similar stories like that as well of the Germans falling back, and there was a story of the 3 Tigers that held off an entire Soviet armored company and destroying like 19 tanks until they had basically one tank had been tracked and all 3 had run out of ammo. That's the only reason they finally pulled back.
Yeah.
Because every time the T-34s would rush forward, they'd pop 2 or 3 more of them. That was just a bitter campaign, and
the whole Eastern Front of World War II is very bitter and dark. And
just fighting in Eastern Europe is just kind of rough to begin with,
especially in the winter.
Well, when the grand majority of it going from Poland into Russia is either swamp or steppe, yeah, it's going to be rough.
Yeah, because the only other correlation I have to this current fight that's going on is the Balkan Wars, the independence of Croatia, the ongoing fight that happened in Bosnia for all those years. That's the only other time that we saw Soviet on Soviet equipment.
Well, another one that you can think of that's also World War II relevant, the Finnish Winter War. This smacks to me of Finnish Winter War similarities. Just how hard the Finns were giving it to the Russians then when they were barely 20, 30 years out of being an ex-Tsarist state within the Imperial Russian nation, fighting the Russians with their upgraded Mosins, taking all the Russian equipment because, well, they still use it and could use it. I actually have a Finnish captured SVT-40 hanging on the wall right behind my monitor.
Lucky man.
This whole scenario is just like watching a really fucked up game of Hearts of Iron. Like something went awry, and somehow the Ukraine's like, no, fuck you.
They got cheat codes on somewhere. Or mods.
They got God mode on.
Yeah, it's just...
You've unlocked the ghost of Kiev.
Again, it just proves to you that fighting people on their home territory, when you back them into a corner, they're gonna fight tooth and nail.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely know after, I think this is all said and done, whatever happens, Russia's no longer going to be the scary kid next door to anybody. I mean, it's just, to me, I
honestly hope, I mean, Russia is not scary anymore. Like I said earlier, paper tiger.
Yeah, exactly. And we talked about this a little bit last week too. It's just like, you've always had that, oh shit, it's Russia. It's always been, Russia's the big dog on the block.
Yeah.
U.S. could stand up to them. It would be kind of an even fight. Now it's like, man, fucking, we'd steamroll them.
Now it's going to China.
Yeah. And then it's like, I wonder how much is China really a paper tiger too?
No, because China has the economy to actually subsist and to manufacture everything it needs in that regard.
Yeah,
and
that's the way the Soviets were up until the early 90s.
Yeah,
so the Soviets had the industrial might to do it as well. The Chinese,
yeah, because they were operating that planned economy with a super heavy focus on heavy industry, which Russia isn't in anymore.
Because we introduced them to McDonald's.
Well, after the fall of the Soviet Union and the planned economy going away, it kind of went back to lighter industry, consumer goods and things like that, which is what the majority of the world needs.
They're like, we like McDonald's.
Happy.
Yeah,
Look,
it creates a good standard of living.
I was buying their ammo. Okay, I'll just
so was I. I mean,
like a lot of it.
Bernal ammunition was good ammunition. I mean, the consistency of that ammunition was pretty good.
Oh, I never had a problem with it. It was so good.
I probably got close to 8,000 rounds out of one gun. Not a single light primer strike, not a single hard primer, not a inconsistency in firing, and it worked good.
Which plant were you buying from?
Barnaul.
Oh, yes.
Specifically Barnaul. If I could get Barnaul ammunition, I would get Barnaul. I have some Vimple. It works good too.
Barnaul and Vimple were the two that I would use, and I had no issues out of either one of them. Tola,
Tola's okay. I mean, but going back to like thinking about like
Tola is like Winchester White Box, okay?
Thinking about it in terms of historical developments and production, Tula is the old kid on the block when it comes to Russian small arms. That is like
I said, Winchester White Box.
No, legitimately, Tula was the old guard of firearms development in the Soviet Union.
Yeah, 100%. But that does not mean they're the best now.
No, that doesn't mean they were the best then either.
It really don't.
That's what it's historically been. Think of the Brits in Birmingham. Birmingham was the largest production area of firearms in England for the longest time. Nothing's made there like that now.
Right.
Because guns bad. No, trust me. That's definitely not a phrase we use very often in America, but to the Brits, guns bad.
Oh, I don't know. I'm starting to hear that phrase more and more.
You gotta have the little. You gotta have the little dingle thing on the back of your pistol and like a retarded barrel, and it's gotta be like a bolt action.
Usually, the little dingle thing on the back of the pistol is called a security guard.
They have those?
What?
What, you mean a lanyard loop?
No, the guy holding it.
I was about to say, I think he's referring to the idiot holding it.
Dingleberry holding the damn gun.
You mean the meat attachment?
Yeah, the 430-pound diabetes-riddled security guard who's trying to tell me I can't park there.
The tool holding the tool.
Do they even
park there, sir? You don't have a permit.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
Yeah, that's a little hurtful to somebody.
You just yelled at me earlier for telling me you're not fat.
I wasn't talking about me. I don't even have to use CPAP machine no more.
do they even put lanyard loops on pistols and shit anymore?
Not really. It has definitely fallen out of favor.
Not unless you're planning on going to South Africa and shooting the Zulus. Jesus, Spanky.
Whoa, look. It might not be used anymore. Go ahead, El. Go ahead.
I said this whole conversation, the only thing that got Spanky excited was fucking lanyard loop.
What?
Well, I mean, it's released for magazines. It was a European thing.
Yeah, we don't.
No. The God gun had one on it, and it's for retention. Which, while it may not be used much anymore, I've seen plenty of times when it would have been useful for a motherfucker to have on his gun.
Because it's just like having a sling attachment on your rifle. It's the same concept. Just
exactly,
retention.
It's a sling for a pistol. Is all it is, and I understand the real concept of it. And if you had to use one all the time, I don't see how it's a bad thing to actually have. At least you don't fucking lose the goddamn
Yaroslav M57 Tokarev with a lanyard loop on it doesn't get in the way of anything.
No, like I've got a 1911 that's got one on it, and it's like not intrusive at all. Hell, I think does my HK have one on it? Hold on, I'll be right back.
Oh
God!
For
Even gripping it left-handed, it doesn't really do anything. I mean, it's just there. Usually, they're set in and even with the side plates, so you don't generally feel them anyway.
I hear lanyard on a pistol, and all I can think of is the properly trimmed mustache and the aristocratic accent of a British officer.
With his Webley.
Yeah, with a Webley and that swagger stick or his little skinny-ass sword underneath his arm.
I'm back. I can confirm the HKP-30 does have a lanyard loop. So, yeah, I guess
it's
mostly
there, but they have definitely fallen out of favor.
I guess it's mostly just European guns and shit that still have them now.
It's like heel release for magazines. Lanyard loops were also very much a European thing.
Oh, heel release. That was a terrible thing.
It's not necessarily terrible. It's, again, you're also thinking this is when semi-automatic pistols were in development, and the form factor of them has yet to be determined. Not to mention, this is also before the mass manufacture of ammo to the degree of not needing to worry about your magazines necessarily, because you can always get another one. When magazine retention was important, because your handgun and the two magazines it came with would probably be the only one you could get for who knows how long when you're, say, deployed down to South Africa, and who knows when you're going to be able to get another supply. Retaining that magazine was important, so a heel release was for that, because your hand's right there in the way of the magazine. It can't just fall and get lost.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate watching these movies and watching guys just basically drop mags all over the place.
Well, what else are you supposed to do?
Unless you're running for your life, you
retain it.
Yeah, you take the mag, and usually, like, at least the old school guys used to keep a mag pouch on our hip.
What? I thought that's why you bought like 40 mags. I'm doing this wrong, apparently.
Thank you. That was back in my.
Well, I mean,
is that why you have
G3 mags for your G3?
Is that why you have 60 mags for the G3, so you can just leave a trail of them like breadcrumbs?
60? Dude, double that and then add like 20 more. That's how many I've got.
You said some of them were crappy and some of them were good. No.
I've got 130 that are brand fucking new.
Why do you have 130 magazines?
They were $1 a piece.
Why are you even trying to question why Spanky has
I bought a case and a half, and by a case I mean there was 100 in this box, and then I bought like 50 more at another point in time just because, this is $100 for these, and then these were 50, and I've got some of the steel set me mags that are curved and shit. Those are hard to find, by the way. I've got some steel HK mags. Those are hard to find and fucking expensive now. I've got like, just shit like that. And then like most of them are the aluminum ones.
L1A1 mags for FALs are a bitch to find and actually get, and I only have 4 of them.
And you know what's the best part? I've got enough ammo to fill every one of them.
Well, I was gonna say even if you didn't have enough ammo, you can start fucking throwing them at people with as many you have.
Oh,
AK
Lord,
mags are the best at that with the rib on the back.
I've literally taken a couple of them that like I've dented or whatever I fucked up, and I've turned them into like mag blocks or vice blocks and shit, where I can like clamp them into a vice and then set the G3 on it and like hold it up in a vice and shit while I clean it and shit. Fucking great.
Good Lord.
So y'all weren't in the Discord channel tonight. Me and Spanky got fucking lost on fucking Gunbroker's website.
And hell, dude, I've done the same thing with like my ARs and shit.
Gunbroker is dangerous.
Okay, well, there's a good segue question. What is your unicorn gun, King?
SVD.
Any particular?
A legitimate SVD, not a Tiger, not an NDM86. A legitimate SVD.
You know, I almost bought him. Well, I bought him one. I almost helped him get one not too long ago. It wasn't an actual SVD, but it was
it was a Hungarian development of it, which is so damn close that it would be basically the same thing.
And it wasn't a horrible price. What was it, like $6,000?
Yeah, it was only like $6 or $7,000.
Oh yeah, not horrible.
SVDs going right now are like 10, 11 grand for legitimate Russian SVDs.
That's a car.
Have you seen any of those go for sale?
The ones that are going for like 6, 7, 8 right now are the NDM86s, especially the ones in 308, and other non-Russian, like the Tigers, can command like 8,000 to 9,000, sometimes 10.
Have you seen any of those Hungarians that came in? Like,
not really. People are holding on to them. There are only a couple hundred that came in.
Oh, I know. It was like 100 or 150.
Yeah.
So yeah, I almost got him one of like 100 that came in. It would have been like really fucking rare.
I would if I was offered one for $8,000 right now, I would sell guns for it.
Oh, dude, you should have got that one. That was not. I almost fucking got it myself. Almost. Yeah. Very fucking close. If I wasn't having car troubles at the goddamn time, which we've talked about, I would have bought the motherfucker. I had to spend literally more than that on my car.
I have the 80% receiver of yours that you got from Jerkin still sitting here waiting for you.
Oh, it's not 80%. Don't tell them that.
It's not a gun. It's not a gun.
The best part is Spanky got gypped out of a Russian gun by a German car.
I know, right?
Hungarian gun.
Same difference.
That's fine. I recently got an AK that I really like, so I'm happy about that.
Oh, man.
My most recent purchase was a Carcano.
What, the same rifle that they shot?
JFK?
Yeah.
No, not that model. It's a 98 or what is it? 91-28 carbine, which is basically after World War One. Italy kind of scaled down, and in 1928 they just kind of took a lot of the old rifles and hacked them down to carbines. Well, fun fact about those is those rifles are progressively rifled, meaning the rifling twist increases in speed the further down the barrel you go. So they hacked it off before it got fully stabilized. And so it's literally like a 16 or an 18-inch barrel, little carbine, bolt action carbine that has progressive rifling that isn't fully progressed to where it needs to be. So it's not stabilized as well as it could be.
So you just need a heavier bullet. That's all.
No, like it's not like from the beginning of the chamber to the end of the barrel. Most rifles that people understand it today, the rifling is the same twist rate. Progressive rifling, that twist rate changes from the throat all the way out to the muzzle. It gets faster as it goes out because it was a matter of transitioning from black powder to smokeless powders and learning that system and getting used to what would be good for rifling. Italy adopted its early Carcanos with a progressive rifling twist, and it worked. But it doesn't work when you hack the barrels down shorter.
I wonder what the ending twist on that would have been like versus the beginning twist.
The beginning twist was something like 1 in 4, 1 in 6, something like that, and it ended in like a 1 in 8 to 10.
Yeah, usually
Like,
anything like most 308, actually most 30 cals, like 308, 7.62 with 39, they're all about 1 in 10.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is this is 6.5. 6.5 Carcano.
So it needs to be probably a little bit less or more, depending on how you're looking at faster spin. Anyway, like I said, just use a heavier bullet for less of a twist.
Well, the thing is most companies don't manufacture 6.5. This is going real nerdy into Carcano shit. Most companies don't actually manufacture 6.5 Carcano in the correct diameter.
Wait a minute. I think you said that backwards.
It's like the difference between like 7.62 American 7.62, which is 308, and Russian 7.62, which is 310. Most companies manufacture 6.5 at the 6.5 diameter in thou, which I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it's like 5 thou too small. And so it doesn't mesh with the rifling as good as it could be, and so accuracy out of most 6.5 out of Italian 6.5 Carcano is fairly subpar unless you can find the right diameter bullet. And well, nobody makes it, so you have to live with slightly subcaliber ammunition from Perfect Partisan and people like that.
Oh my god. Fuck that. That's just a wall gun then, ain't it?
Yeah, no, I got it mainly for the history there, just because it was cool. The price was right, and so I'm like, you know what, I'll pick it up. Why not?
You know, my Mosin the Gaunt that I got.
It's legitimately the oldest rifle I own, though. It's a Tourney 1918.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's a World War I vet.
Fuck yeah. The dude I bought my Mosin from, he was fucking convinced that he could use the same ammo that the Mosin used in his 308 rifle because it's 30 cal. And I'm like, if you can, you're a fucking magician, and I kind of want to see it because I want to video it.
Kind of like the video of the guy trying to shoot the 300 blackout round out of his base ass fucking AR.
Jesus.
It wouldn't even fully chamber.
No, it wouldn't. It's 3 mils too long.
Yeah. Kablooey.
It's rimmed.
I'm going to pick on Mac real quick because I used to work with a Marine, which I'm pretty sure one of my buddies looked his MOS up, and it was just a fucking cook. But he was telling us one day, I'm talking about like telling us, like a group of us. It's like, yeah, man, they taught us that, you know, if we run out of ammo in our shit, we can pick up the enemy's like magazines and shit and use their ammo on our stuff. I'm like, we're mostly fighting, you know, everybody over there in the sandbox and shit. They use 7.62. How in the fuck is that? I think the dude that was telling you that shit was just trying to get your dumb ass killed.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty sure he's max age too, so he wasn't one of the ones chewing down crayons. So.
You motherfuckers.
The halls of Montezuma.
Mac, did they ever tell you any bullshit like that while you were in?
There was all types of bullshit, dude. We had guys that they ran around the barracks and used to brand each other, and they would jump off of the fucking 3-story barracks onto mattresses just so they could get their quote-unquote airborne wings. So there were some quote-unquote crayon munchers amongst the group, and that's how I ended up having to go to anger management, because I was doing one of my college courses in my room on like a Tuesday or Thursday night. I can't remember which one it was, but it was not the weekend. And the guys came in and they wanted me to go drinking. I said no like 3 or 4 times. Got called a bunch of names, didn't give a shit, doing my work, trying to get my degree, trying to fucking make something of myself. And then the dude grabbed the book and threw it out the window, and that's when I proceeded to break his nose and hang him out the window before the sergeant made me stop.
But Mac doesn't have anger issues.
It's crazy. They sent a Marine to anger management courses. Not something you would normally hear, but yeah, I tried to kill a fellow Marine, so they made me go talk about my feelings.
We need you to have more of an Air Force attitude right now.
So you had to fill out a hurt feelings report?
No, I had to go take meditation. I had to go see this old school, 1970s hippie who was a yogi. Now, mind you, this is 1998. I had never heard it. Yoga wasn't something you talked about in the Midwest. Yoga wasn't a big thing.
Wait. Were they holding?
I don't know. I did not enjoy the first two classes, but then I fell in with a very fantastic 39. Yeah, I see you, stupid little bastard. But I fell in with a fantastic divorcee, and she showed me the way.
She got your anger under control?
Yes, she did.
So
she showed me proper meditation techniques.
Wow.
Took me out drinking and
learned about the downward dog.
Oh, dude, she wore my ass out.
Oh, she did. She wore your ass out. I got you.
So he is into it.
That's when Matt got recruited to stare at goats.
No, there's always types. There was all types of weird, dumb shit like they did in the Marine Corps. That's those stories like that from back then don't surprise me because you gotta remember we were in peacetime. The Soviet Union had fallen, and other than Somalia, that's the reason I was trying to get into anti-terrorism, into the fast teams. I knew I wasn't crazy enough to do recon, and I think I have a decent brain in my head. So my goal, and I mentioned this earlier in another podcast, was President Reagan and Vice President Bush, later President Bush, made the statement that we were going to be on Mars by 2015. My thought process was, I'm not an idiot, but I'm not as smart enough to be an astronaut. Maybe I can go on one of these missions to Mars because they're still going to need grunts to do the grunt work, building a base for a bunch of egghead astronauts. So if I could at least get my intelligence up, get into the officer corps, I had a pretty decent chance of hopefully going to Mars by 2015. So that's why I tried to study. It's also why I learned about the Spetsnaz, and you learn about your enemies. Because my degree was in military history. I was trying to better myself, and being around a bunch of grunt jarheads was grating. That's why I hate the crayon meme, because it's partially true, and at the same time, I don't represent those Marines.
You would have been in the Space Force.
I would not have gone to the Space Force, because that just sounds stupid.
Mac was a Marine that wanted to go to Mars and fuck a Martian.
I wanted to be the Marines in the Aliens movie. I wanted to be the guys in the green with I wanted to be the dude with the shotgun on his back. I keep this around just in case of emergencies, hoping for my bug hunt scenario if we got to go to Mars and we found something, hoping to God that was going to be the case. Here it is 2022 and we don't even have a damn base on the moon yet that we know about.
Now we just have some drones, and the one that died playing "Happy Birthday" to itself.
God, that's the saddest thing I've heard.
Yeah, every year the Martian drone, I can't remember which one it was. One of the drones we had on Mars, every time it was its birthday, it would play "Happy Birthday" to itself. I don't know if it died actually playing it to itself, but yeah, it would literally on camera. It would you just kind of hear it sing "Happy Birthday" to itself.
See, that hits me right in the feels. I don't give a shit about old Yeller and shooting dogs.
I think it was Odyssey. I can't remember.
That's fucking precious.
The poor little drone singing itself "Happy Birthday"
on Mars, just singing "Happy Birthday" to itself.
Bro, can't you imagine they're getting feelings?
It's 2 breaks of elk in one podcast.
Bro, no, you know the fucking sad ass robot on fucking Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Oh my God. I'm so depressed.
I was thinking of Wally, but wow, that's even worse.
Wow.
And funny enough, the Bola Platinius said, "Oh, not again."
I gotta say,
it was curiosity.
Why doesn't the depression gun work on you? I mean, you gotta bring it up. Fuck.
I mean, that's almost as sad as that one. It was like an art piece they did with that.
Oh yeah, the one that it's constantly sweeping the trains back in.
Yep, and it's people make it dance or do it, and the whole time it's leaking tranny fluid, and it's so sad because it's trying to get it all back in itself and getting slower and slower, and it's oh man, that's just fucking horrible.
Makes you just want to jump in there and help the little guy.
What, you talking about Johnny Five?
No.
Johnny Five, I'm alive.
No, disassemble.
No, so there's
No,
this art piece.
disassemble.
There's this art piece, and it's in like this enclosed thing, right?
No,
And it's got like this squeegee attached to it, and it's constantly fucking trying to pull this tranny fluid back into itself because it's just leaking out, and people are like making it dance and shit, and it's just leaking more fluid. It's like, if that's not the most depressing shit ever.
What the fuck?
Like, cause it's just like it's constantly doing something, and it's not changing, and it's like it's the fucking definition of fucking insanity.
Wow.
And these people are sitting here making it fucking dance like it's a fucking like it's like dance, damn you,
dance for me, clown, entertain me until you die.
Yeah.
You really want a clown entertaining you till it dies. $2.5 billion rover sings happy birthday to itself.
Jesus.
It's
Still operating 10 years after it's.
I hear that, and I know somewhere down south there are a couple of rednecks that could have done that for at least a tenth of the price and make it still function.
And
$2 billion
case of natty ice.
The cool thing about Curiosity
Lord,
it was
yeah.
only supposed to be a 2-year mission. Here it is, almost 10 years later in December of this year. Still grunting.
I just posted a video of what we were talking about in chat, so if anybody wants to look at it.
I mean, it's depressing as shit.
Poor, sad little robot.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sitting there squeezing up this fluid that's just pouring out of it because people are making it dance, and it's just like, I just want to get in there and help the little feller. Like, quit making him dance. Damn it, he's dying. It was like one I shared. I don't know if I think fucking Spooky saw it. It was this comedian. It was a TikTok, and it was the voiceover was a comedian, and he's like, the most fucked up thing is having anxiety and depression. You're like, oh my god, and then you're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah, that's like my life.
Yeah, it's like
That's
so
just
deep.
life in general. That's what half of life is.
I know, but it was just like that robot. It's like, happy birthday to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so far away from anybody.
Well, again, I'll tell you a quick story from personal life. My wife gets so upset because, and I had to point this out to her, and it was so friggin' right. And it just brings home the point that I'm right more often than I'm wrong, and it hurts. But she feels like she is constantly getting shit on. Like, karma is against her. Every time we go someplace, like a fast food restaurant, they always fuck up her order. Only hers. Never the rest of our orders. I can get 10 things in a bag. The one item that she wanted is either not there or fucked up. Constantly, this happens to her. Supposed to go on a vacation, the place that she picked out gets canceled, blah, blah, blah. What happened with our wedding, the first place that she picked out, they eventually went out of business and had to give us our money back, so we had to delay our wedding by a year. But she's also the person that I know that every time she goes out to the bar with her friends or she's out shopping, she finds a $20 bill on the ground. Or just the other day, she opened a letter and $50 bill fell out of the letter.
It's hard to have pity for a motherfucker like that.
Yeah, that's what I told her. I looked at her and I was like, see? She goes, maybe you're right. I was like, yes. I was like, you either have the worst luck or the best luck. You don't have any middle ground.
Me.
You don't have a middle ground. Like, I just run the don't get shit thing. I was happy. I played the lottery the other day. I got $4 back. Like, whoop-de-fuck. That's the first time I've gotten money back on a lottery in a month. I don't find $20 on the ground. I don't get a free meal. She went through the drive-thru and got a free meal because the person in front of her decided to pay for it. Like, I have never had that.
Your wife's luck sounds like my luck. I have the same luck.
Like, you people, they need to balance it.
Shits out on me. And then it's like I park in the parking lot of somewhere I'm going. I look on the ground to the right, and there's $30 sitting in the fucking parking lot.
I fucking hate. I have not found actual money on the ground, paper money on the ground, since I was a
20
teenager.
and a 10.
Fuck off. I have lost money. I have never found it.
I found $200 one time when I was working at a grocery store. I saw it sitting on the ground. I was like, oh shit. Bent over to grab it. About the same time, the store manager walked up and he goes, oh, you're going to turn that in, right? I was like, motherfucker.
Yep, into my pocket.
Yeah, but he was holding his hand out. I was like, this motherfucker's about to keep it. I know what's happening.
I did the same thing. I was working at the restaurant and walked around, was coming back from a table and saw $100 bill on the ground. And about the time I picked it up, the guy comes walking and he goes, "Anybody find $100 bill? I was putting my wallet away and my money's not there now." And I'm like, "Yeah, there you go."
Morals. Why do I have morals? Fuck.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Like, if I find a wallet or find fucking money on the ground, I'm like, did anybody lose this? I'm
Oh,
like
yeah,
Eeyore.
100%.
No.
I sound like Eeyore when I find it. I'm like,
What?
did anybody lose this?
I've been on the other end of that where I've lost my wallet and my keys and like, oh my God. And it's atrocious when you can't find them. And somebody's nice enough to bring it back to you. It's like, okay, thank you. And that's kind of like we talked about with Dodge, just doing that good deed.
Yeah.
I believe in the karmas. I tip very well.
$30.
Yeah.
I did pick it up and look around. It's like, I'm the only car at the end of this parking lot. There's no other cars around me. This shit probably blew here.
Yeah, but they always do those like
Shit.
the "what would you do" videos. The people that we're gonna put $5,000 in an envelope. And motherfucker, I'd be that guy who like, hell yeah, turn around, get in my car, and drive off before the freaking camera crews could find me.
Yeah, and then like a wallet, purse. Yeah, I'm gonna turn that shit in. If I see something fall out of somebody's pocket in front of me, yeah, I'll say, "Hey, you dropped some money." But if I just find it randomly sitting on the ground, yeah, it's just my lucky day. I need a break.
See, that's my
You
wife.
know.
She finds the money. I don't find shit. I lose things. I lost my keys one day, and I don't know. And I searched the whole house. I looked everywhere. 2 days without these keys, and finally I was on my way to a delivery and looked out, and on the little like concrete thing that splits the road at the highway turnoff, there are my keys. Like, what? Dude, I hit the brakes, jumped out, and grabbed my keys. I had never been more ecstatic in my life.
No, I did. I had my wallet. Had my wallet fall out of my pocket at Bryant-Denny Stadium for a Alabama game one time. Got all the way to the car, realized my wallet's not there, and I'm like, "Oh fuck!" And I had a bunch of cash in it. I had all, your life's in your wallet. So I'm like, "Fuck," and we go to one of the ticket booths just for the chance that maybe somebody turned it in. And as I'm walking up, this lady and her husband were walking up holding my wallet. And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's my wallet." And they're like, "Here you go." And didn't take none of the money out of it, nothing. And it's like, whew, lucky break. So it's like I tried to, this is a long time ago, tried to keep that momentum of maybe some passing that karma along. So I'll do the right thing in most cases, but if I find random money and nobody's around, yeah, it's mine.
Yeah, if your name ain't on that envelope,
mine.
or there ain't no deposit slip in that envelope, and if I find $5,000 on the ground, oh, baby.
Yep, it's mine.
I'm turning you into bullets.
Yeah.
I'm fucked up in the head because
$5,000? I'll sell 2 guns and get me my gun under my dreams.
as soon as I find that I'm opposite. I have that weird fucking protector fucking thing in me, and we're like, that's not mine.
And I'm with you on that too, Elk. Like if I'm standing, kind of like what King did.
Really depends on what it is, though.
Grab that $5,000 in cash. I want to look if there's a deposit slip or a name on it, or it's supposed to be going someplace. I'm gonna look around the parking lot like, man, really? Yeah. But at the same time, I've been broke so long and had stuff done to me that's like, I'm going to do good things with this money. It's not like I'm going to go buy crack or get absolutely shit-faced or push it all down the panties of a couple of fine, hard-working women at a gentleman's club.
If I found $5,000 on the ground right
know
now,
what?
I'd pay a couple of bills.
I take that as a personal attack.
You know what? I was spanking on this, but at the same token, why are you in my fucking head?
Right?
Because I know that's where you guys would go if you had an extra $5,000 in your pocket.
Those two guys, yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
like I'm paying off $5,000 off of my truck tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a couple of bills I would happily put $5,000 towards. So,
Spanky, he's not wrong, bud.
What?
I mean,
what?
Okay, part of me would like to take the money and throw it at Spanky so he'll ship me that G3, that 150 mags, and part of that crate of ammo.
Okay.
But if Spanky was with me and we found $5,000, we're definitely not going to buy a gun. We're definitely going to see some dance.
Y'all are going to the Jiggle Shack.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. Okay. Yeah, I'll go with you. I just ain't spend that much. Most of that $5,000 going to something else. I was going to tell you.
I mean, I've never dropped fucking Not even close to that.
No.
What's the most you've spent at a gentleman's club?
Don't talk about it.
All right.
You're on the spot now.
I'm going to throw you out my top, and you just tell me above or below.
Okay.
$850.
Higher.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. So in the States, probably no more than like 300.
Oh no.
And that was years ago.
Defining in the States kind of worries.
No.
Oh, you should have been around for some other episodes.
Oh.
In China and Macau, probably a lot more.
Now translate
A
into
lot
American,
more.
not even like 48
So-
million yen.
I think one night I did 1,200.
Yeah.
And I'll go ahead and tell you, that was a lot of fun I had.
Yeah, it probably goes a little bit farther over there than it does over here.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yes it do.
I'm going to tell you, yeah, it goes way further over there than it does here.
Yes it do. Yes it do.
But I mean, I would never go over that. Like, I mean, cause
Like I needed a nurse and an IV afterwards.
I mean, definitely been there, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been rich enough to go balling out like Pac-Man Jones or anything, so.
If I ever get rich, it's just throw it at guns. I'm just going to be honest here. That's what I do.
I did that. That was
See,
just...
that's a smart thing. Guns are an
it's a good investment.
That's how I've always looked at them.
Oh, trust me, if I could go back, I'd slap the money out of my
most
hand.
of them anyway.
I mean,
I mean,
that alleged, nursing degree or whatever it is that they're selling.
I was 22. I had just earned a $2,500 paycheck from 1 week's work from working the ice storm in Kansas City. I came back to see friends. It was a dude's birthday. I decided to pay for everybody's drinks and lap dances for the night.
I mean, I think I have 13 guns in the room with me right now.
You don't ever do that, Mac. We don't ever do
Dude,
that.
I didn't get to see my boys very often. I got to go back home once a month. So when I did, I was coming out balling like a freaking...
No, I mean, I get that. It's just...
And King, I bet that most of, probably if not all of the guns that you have in your room are probably worth more now than what you paid for them whenever you got them, aren't they?
Just to name one specifically that I know is worth a fuckload more. The Finnish M39 I have on my wall, I paid $400 for. They're going now for $1,000, $1,100 a piece.
I was about to say, I'll give you like 200 more than that. I'll give you 6 for it. Shit. Yeah. No, I exactly know.
The SVT 40 I got, 1,800. Now they're going for like 2,400.
I mean, and some of you know this because y'all were, around whenever I was doing the transaction, but the AKs that I've got, or at least had, I've only got one of them left, but, I bought, it was the black one that I had. It was a Bulgarian, AK-74 side folder.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, it wasn't even like a name brand. It was some home build, whatever, but it was a Bulgarian kit. I paid $700 for it several years ago, and that's what I traded for that AUG. Was it A3M1? Where the fuck it is? Like M1A3 that I've got now. That is, and plus like $800 worth of mags that came with it. That's probably almost $3,000 in value because the mags came loaded, by the way, with green tip. and so that $700 rifle in the span of like 6 years grew in value to almost $3,000. Or it was at least worth $3,000 worth.
And
of
I've only had
trade.
that M39 for about 3 years.
I absolutely believe that.
For it to triple in value in 3 years is pretty nuts.
Hell, I ended up flipping that B&T APC-9 that I bought. Hell, they're expensive. I paid like $3,000 for that damn thing, and just like the supply of them dried out. Like I only had it probably 6 months. The supply of them dried out. And some dude was in the gun store while I was in there because I was in there shopping for something else like I always am. And he was looking at one of the other one of the other BNTs, the G,
The grasshopper or whatever it is.
yeah, the funky looking one. Takes same mags and shit. I was like, oh man, I just bought the APC 9 Pro. He was like, I fucking want one of them. He's like, that's why I came in here looking for and shit. And like the dude, the gun store owner was like, yeah, we're not getting BNTs anymore. They're hard to sell and all this other shit. And dude was like, fuck. He was like, you want to sell yours? And I sold mine to him for like $500 more than what I paid for it.
Yeah, $500 profit.
Yeah, which it was a very expensive gun and very nice, like the best shooting little carbine or 9mm sub gun that I've ever fucking shot, period. But for HK MP5 prices, I was like, I'd kind of rather just have the MP5. It's almost as good and just has that nostalgic value to it. So I went even cheaper and just bought a PTR 9C.
Yeah, for me,
for less than half that.
Most of the guns that I have are Curio and Relic because that's where my main interest lies, is in old guns. Right. Out of the 13 guns around me, 8 of them are Curio and Relic.
And there ain't nothing wrong with that. I got some old shit. I like some old shit. I just don't focus with old shit all the time.
Are 2 AKs, an AR, a pistol, and a FAL.
Sell me the foul.
It's a Aussie L1A1 kit.
Mac is torn.
I want my foul.
Get a kit, get a receiver, throw it together. It's literally as easy as an AR.
I got that reservation in with DSA. I want my foul. They're so no, it's not even the money thing. They're so backlogged.
Oh yeah, I was lucky that I got that kit and they released those Aussie receivers when they did, because I got in, I had it ordered from them. It arrived a week later at the gun store that I go to, and it was literally not 4 months later, 5 months later, or whatever it was. We had COVID, and all the guns just got.
Do you know why I'm into G3s more than I am fouls?
Because you can find them.
Oh no! Back whenever I got into them, which was like 12, 13 years ago, you could get both of them, not a problem. No, I ended up getting in the G3s because they were half the fucking price of a foul.
Yeah, they're far cheaper. They are far cheaper. I paid in the L1A1 I have. I think I paid. I think it was about 1,000 or 1,100 to jerk in for the parts kit, and then another 450 on top of that for the receiver.
Yeah,
and then I had a couple of pins that were improperly sized, so I had to drop another maybe $50 on on a couple different pins that needed correct sizing.
Well, then 1,800 for that foul isn't too bad then.
No, and not too long ago, the price difference between the G3 like I've got and the DSA fouls wasn't too crazy.
Well, you can still build a G3 like gun for relatively cheap because, dear Lord, you could pay $150, $200 to Apex and get a set me kit and throw that together with the G3 receiver, and you're golden.
Oh, 100%. And there's only a few differences between a set me and a G3 anyway.
All the furniture still fits.
Yeah, I know, because my G3's got set me furniture on it.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want a cheap G3 and you're willing to build one and you're willing to do a little bit of welding on a jig, building a G3 is not a bad way to go.
No, it's not. Matter of fact, I had to sell my MP5 not too long ago just because I had to downsize a little bit. I'm very tempted to build one this next time around. Buy an actual German kit and build one.
From like HK parts or something.
Yeah. Like going to be like $2,300 for the kit, but still. I'm probably not going to build it. I'm going to find somebody to build it.
Brandon Herrera, because that motherfucker has a full auto burst capable AK-12 parts kit, and I am jealous.
What?
Yeah, he got an AK-12 parts kit and he built it and NFA'd it, and it is full auto dealer sample because he has SOT.
I was fucking with Dodds the other day. I was like, Dodge, when we get some parts kits in from over at Ukraine. It's like, come on, man.
Hook up,
have the drone drop it off over here. It would be cool.
Oh, what's our time looking like, Mac?
We're at 1:25, so we need to start wrapping up here.
Yes, sir.
Russia bad, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the wrap up.
So just a quick rundown. So the AK-12 hasn't really had a great debut in modern combat. The Russians are a bit of a paper tiger unless we find out that they're just basically putting second liners up front and just holding the real troops back. The Ukrainians are badass, and they're using a mixture of old Soviet equipment and Western equipment to basically punch the Russians right in the dingleberries.
Everything in between.
Yeah, and nothing is more fearsome than a Ukrainian farmer with an old school AK and a tractor.
And the grandma running around with fucking...
Dude, I think she's the only one that has bigger balls than your 12 Snake Island guys.
What I forgot, what the fuck does she have?
The sunflower seeds in the pocket, so when you die, you leave something good behind.
Yes.
Yeah, like, put these sunflower seeds in your pocket so when you die, my country will be prettier. Like, oh, holy crap.
That is harsh.
Dude, that's old school. You think I'm a boomer. That old broad's like, I was probably a little kid when the Nazis rolled through.
Give her the thug life tag immediately.
No, she's got the Stug Life tag.
Yeah, I'm gonna say she's just fucking big dick fucking Russia. I mean, she's okay.
That's OG baller shit right there.
Just like that meme I posted in the other chat, the babushka with the freaking MP5. Like, yeah, she's out here stunting on these poor ass Russians with her freaking HK.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but could you imagine getting that one-liner delivered to you by some fucking Ukrainian grandma?
You got, because at least with Slavic males, they have at least the respect for their older women that way. Like, you're standing there, you and your buddy, you got all your freaking ratnik gear on, you're trying to be all hardcore, coming in and taking over and denazifying the Ukraine, and this little babushka walks up and, here, put your flower seeds in your pockets so when my defenders kill you, something nice grows. Like,
sunflower seeds are a very common snack over there.
I know, but it's the premise behind. The premise behind it. She was fucking big dicking them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Here, put this tasty snack in your pocket, so when you die, they fall out and leave something nice behind.
Well, yeah, the Ukrainians use sunflower seeds also as an oil substitute.
A lot of like the oil substitutes over in Eastern Europe that are made are from sunflower oil.
Yeah, I knew about that just before the war because the game that they caught me playing right before a stream the other week was Ostriv, which I own that game because it's made by a Ukrainian and it's actually a decent little game. And I was like, why the hell is there sunflower seed oil? Like, who the hell did this?
It's their form of vegetable oil, basically.
Yeah, and I had to educate myself, and then all of a sudden this shit happened and was like, that's pretty much a baller move. She just said, here.
Suck on this, boy.
So that was the recap, and we do have a couple of announcements. So we are now officially a podcast. All except for this episode, the past 2 episodes have been uploaded to Podbean, and they're also now on Spotify and Amazon Music, or music and podcast. It'll take a little time, but there's a few other places that we're going to be looking to expand to. So, to find us,
birthdays or something.
to find us on Podbean, we unfortunately. There is another podcast apparently out there with the same name. So we are Southern Deep Fried Friends on Podbean. But with Spotify, everything, just search up Deep Fried Friends. You'll find us eventually. We're there. I promise.
Find it, listen to an episode, give us a 5-star rating or however you think we should be rated.
Yep. 5 stars would be appreciated. But if honesty is, if you don't like us, that's fine. Just give us a rating, something.
At least hit us in the Discord and tell us what we can do better.
Right. And if for all of those who may be listening that wasn't present here tonight, head on over to our Twitch, twitch.tv/Deep Fried Friends. Give us a follow over here. Help us get to that affiliate status. I'll be working with Mac here in a little bit to get here soon to get some commands for our Twitch chat that'll pop all the stuff up that we need to be popped up. Again, we're trying to grow and we're getting there. Like I said, we're officially a podcast now. We're not just on Twitch and on YouTube. We are in podcast airwaves. So appreciate everybody for coming by and giving us a listen.
We got her swinging in the wind now.
Yes, and the thanks go to Spanky for for helping us and bankrolling us for this year.
Don't thank me yet.
I know. You had the money to spare. We appreciate you, brother.
Yes.
We all
problem.
contribute in different ways.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
All
I
right.
do nothing else other than pay for shit.
Money. That's it.
Just
You're
like the rest of my relationships.
So you're
you're
gonna stop
the
being
sugar daddy.
So you're going to stop being the built-fed sniper. You're going to start being Spanky the sugar daddy.
Yeah, Sugar Daddy Spanky.
That's its coins.
It's like we
Goddamn.
all have our roles. We have Elks, handling, taking all the recordings, putting them on YouTube. Max pretty much our mouthpiece and handling the recordings. I'm trying to work on getting all the podcasts up, and Spanky's over there like Mr. Moneybags himself.
It's just like when he was in Macau spending money instead of bullets. It's 100 yen bills coming out of his gun.
We are his hoes.
And again, we want to thank all the people who help us behind the scenes. Codeman and N Benito on Discord. Husky's been converting them to MP4s to be put on the podcast. And then everybody here watching and listening and commenting, all the guests who've come on, including Mr. King here. We thank everybody for helping us in this process.
Yes.
Damn right.
So with that, we're going to wrap it up. The man with the plan, Elk Man to the left.
Y'all have a good night.
Big Bucks Daddy Spanky.
Hey, we'll wrap it up, but I ain't pulling out.
All right.
Good night.
Swoop Man.
Remember, kids, spay and neuter your cats. And dogs.
And some neighbors, potentially. And a big thanks to our guest for this evening, King.
Not to get political, but Slava Ukraini.
Slava Ukraina.
Conrad.
And again, thank everybody for watching, listening. Go out there on Podbean or Amazon and Spotify. Help us out. We got all the links. We're going to keep throwing them out there till y'all keep listening or tell us to go fuck ourselves, a la Snake Island style. But thank you again, and have a great night.